The rain came down like fists from a drunk uncle, pounding the hood of that crumpled Chevy into submission as it lay belly up in the gutter. I didn't think. I just acted, my boots slipping on the oil-slick asphalt of this godforsaken Chicago alley. The kind where dreams go to die under sodium lamps that flicker like bad omens. "Hold on, kid. I'm coming," I yelled into the storm, but the only answer was a baby's wail slicing through the thunder, sharp as a switchblade. That cry hooked me deeper than any bar pickup or late-night confession ever had. 6 months on the streets after Mom and Dad shipped me off like yesterday's trash for daring to love a boy in their Bible Belt suburb, and I'd hardened up, Ryder Kane, 22, king of the corner hustles and cold diner coffee. But that sound? It cracked me open, raw and bleeding, pulling me toward the wreck like a magnet to steel. I yanked the driver's door, metal groaning like a dying animal. And there he was. A scrawny kid, maybe 17, his face a roadmap of bruises, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. He was clutching a bundle in a soaked blanket, his arms trembling as he shoved it toward me. My sister's not moving. Please, God, don't let her." His voice broke, eyes wild with that animal panic you see in strays cornered by traffic. "Give her here." I snatched the baby. Tiny thing, no more than 6 months, blue lips and lashes clumped with rain, and pressed my cheek to her chest. Faint flutter. Alive. I tucked her inside my jacket, against the heat of my skin, and hauled the kid out next, his body limp as wet spaghetti. Luca, he'd gasp later, when the world wasn't ending. Luca Moretti, with eyes like smoked whiskey and a smile that could thaw January winds. But right then, he was just dead weight, and I was the fool dragging us all to safety. We stumbled 3 blocks to my squat in an abandoned warehouse off Halsted, the kind of place where junkies shoot up and artists pretend it's bohemian. I kicked open the rusted door, laid the baby, Mia, Luca would name her, on my threadbare sleeping bag, and rummaged for the first aid kit I'd scavenged from a clinic dumpster. Luca slumped against the wall, coughing up rainwater and regret. You saved us," he whispered, voice hoarse, as he watched me rub the baby's back until her cries pinked up to something human. "Saved? Lady, I just didn't want to explain 2 bodies to the cops." I forced a grin, but my hands shook as I cleaned his cuts with iodine that stung like accusations. Who was I to play hero? Back in Ohio, I'd been the villain. Ryder the fairy, the disappointment, the reason Dad's garage business tanked under family shame. Kicked out at 16 with a duffel and a bus ticket to nowhere. Chicago swallowed me whole. Busboy gigs, grinder hookups that left me emptier, nights staring at the L train rattling overhead, wondering if jumping would feel like freedom. Luca's story spilled out in fits as the storm raged outside. He was 17, fresh out of a foster shuffle in Cicero, grabbing Mia from their last placement when the system threatened to split them. "She's all I got," he said, cradling her like she'd shatter. "Our mom OD'd last year, and the state's got no heart for kids like us." Like he knew my bones already. I brewed weak coffee on my hot plate and we really talked, for the first time since the crash. His laugh was rusty, but it warmed the drafty space. By dawn, with Mia nursing a bottle of formula I'd boosted from a bodega, something shifted. His hand brushed mine, lingering, electric, forbidden in the best way. Days blurred into a rhythm that felt stolen from some Hallmark fever dream. I pulled doubles at the diner, slinging hash to truckers who leered and tipped in quarters. Luca healed up, started sketching on napkins. Cityscapes with a queer eye, all sharp angles and hidden hearts. He'd been drawing since he could grip a crayon, he said, a way to map the chaos. Mia cooed from her makeshift crib, a cardboard box lined with thrift store towels, her gummy smiles bridging our silences. Evenings, we'd walk the lakefront, wind whipping off Lake Michigan, Luca's shoulder bumping mine. "You're not like the others," he murmured one night, under the shadow of the bean, that mirrored kidney reflecting our tangled silhouettes. "You see me, not the bruises or the mess." I wanted to believe it. God, I did. That first kiss happened on a fire escape, stars punching through the smog, his lips tasting of spearmint gum and possibility. Soft, tentative, like we were both afraid it'd vanish. "Ryder," he breathed against my neck, fingers tracing the tattoos I'd inked to cover the scars. "Ohio exit wounds." We didn't push further. This wasn't about bodies, not yet. It was souls colliding, two outcasts forging fire from frost. I told him about the letters I'd burned from home, the prayers Mom sent that reeked of guilt. He shared sketches of his mom, fierce and faded, and the dad he'd never met. A ghost in police blues, rumor had it. We dreamed aloud. A tiny apartment in Pilsen, art shows for Luca, me apprenticing at a mechanic shop, Mia toddling between us, calling us both, duh. But dreams in Chicago are fragile as lake ice. 2 weeks in, betrayal slithered in like exhaust fumes. Luca's phone buzzed. A burner I'd given him, and his face drained white. It's Jax, my foster brother. Said he'd cover for us. But Jax's texts turned venomous. Coordinates pinned to our warehouse. Demands for Mia's return. Family first. The last one read. Luca's hands flew to his mouth. He promised. We grew up in the same hellholes. How could he? I grabbed my jacket, heart hammering. We bolt. Now. We scooped Mia. Bolted down back stairs into the pre-dawn chill. Hailing a cab to a motel on the south side. Paranoia gnawed. Every siren wailed for us. Every shadow hid Jax's snitch. Luca clung to me that night. Mia between us in the sagging bed. His whispers feverish. I love you, Ryder. You pulled us from that wreck, but you saved my soul. Tears soaked my shirt. Love. The word I'd armored against since 16. I held him tighter, vowing silent wars against the world. The climax crashed down 48 hours later, raw as a gut punch. We'd holed up in that fleabag room, curtains drawn against the relentless gray sky, when the door splintered inward. Wood shards flew like shrapnel, and there stood a man built like a brick shithouse. Mid-40s, salt and pepper buzz cut, badge glinting under a trench coat beaded with rain. Luca, get away from him. His voice boomed, gun leveled not at us but the air between, eyes locked on his son with a mix of fury and fracture. Dad! Luca choked, scrambling up, Mia wailing in his arms. I shoved between them, arms out like a full barrier. Back off, man. We're not hurting nobody. The cop, Detective Moretti, his tag screamed, lowered the piece of fraction, but his glare could curdle milk. You think I don't know what this is? Some street rat playing house with my boy? Jax called it in. Said you're poisoning him, turning him. He trailed off, disgust twisting his lip. Queer poison. I'd heard it before, spat like gospel in Ohio pews. Luca's voice cracked the tension like lightning. Turning me? Dad, I'm gay. Have been since forever. And Ryder, he's good. He saved us when you wouldn't even look for Mia after the crash. You were too busy covering your ass at the precinct. Moretti flinched, holster snapping his gun away. Rain lashed the broken window, mirroring the storm inside. I looked, every damn day. But you ran, kid. With her. He nodded at Mia, who quieted to hiccups against Luca's chest. Then his eyes flicked to me. Really saw me for the first time. The color drained from his face, slower than sap. Jesus, that jawline, those eyes. No, it can't. He staggered forward, hand outstretched like he might touch my cheek, then yanked back. What's your last name, boy? Kane. I spat, spine stealing. Ryder Kane. And you ain't my keeper. But he was already fumbling for his wallet, flipping to a faded photo. A woman with my cheekbones, laughing in a Polaroid, arm around a younger him. Your mom, Elena Kane. She worked dispatch at the 12th. It was one night, after a bust gone bad. She never told me, said she was handling it alone. Then she died in that car wreck when you were 2 hit and run, unsolved. I thought, God. I thought you went to family in Ohio. The room spun, pieces slotting like a cruel jigsaw. Elena Kane. My mom. The ghost in Dad's rages. The one who'd whispered apologies before cancer took her when I was 14. But this? A one-night stand with a cop who'd spawn Luca years later with his wife? Half-brothers. Me and Luca. Blood, thick and treacherous, binding us in ways no crash could match. Luca's sob echoed mine. Mia's tiny hand reaching out as if she sensed the shatter. Ryder. No. Oh God. He collapsed onto the bed, rocking the baby, his eyes pleading for a rewind that wouldn't come. Moretti, our father, sagged against the wall, the fight leaching out like air from a punctured tire. I didn't know. Swear on my badge. Jax. He pieced it from old files, tailed you for leverage. Thought he was protecting Luca from you. From me. The gay son he never claimed. I wanted to rage, to swing, to vanish into the storm. Betrayal layered thick. My Ohio dad, who'd buried the truth to keep his perfect life. This cop, who'd hunted his own blood without mercy. Even Jack's twisted loyalty into a knife. But Luca's gaze held me. Love? Yes. But now laced with something deeper, unbreakable. Not lovers. Family. We didn't run that night. Moretti lowered his gun for good, called off the hounds with a voice thick as gravel. Stay, he muttered to Luca, then to me. Both of you, I'll fix the papers. Mia stays with family. Real family, blood-tied and battered, but whole. Months later, the warehouse traded for a 2-flat in Logan Square. Courtesy of a reluctant inheritance Moretti funneled our way. No strings, just amends in check form. Luca's sketches sold at a queer art crawl. His hand in mine platonic now, steady as a brother's. We raised Mia together. Diapers at dawn, storybooks at dusk. Her first word, Bubba. Split between us. Romance? It faded to embers. Banked for something rarer. Forgiveness. I met a guy at the mechanic shop. Easy smiles and no ghosts. Luca found his own spark in a barista with paint-stained fingers. But some nights, under the L's rumble, Luca and I sit on the stoop, Mia asleep between, and we talk. About the wreck that forged us. The blood no one guessed but fate demanded. You saved us, Ryder, he says, shoulder to mine. Not just that night. Every damn day. And in the heartbeat of this American grind. Hustle and heart, loss and light. I know he's right. We're not perfect. We're tied, though, in ways that outlast the rain.